What up, what up, what up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy, Macdagiantsfan, here with my guys, the horsemen, Zion Zenith, Adam Costas. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's time for the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go!
Premium Takes back in your life on a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Hopefully everybody is having a good day as the chat kind of trickles in. Hopefully y'all guys had an amazing 2 weeks since the last time we talked, and we're here like Mac said it perfectly to cover in the world of sports on Premium Takes. Now we all know that the Winter Olympics has been going on, and there's a lot of I know there's records being broken, there's accidents being happening, and there's a lot of fun events taking place in the world of the Olympics, the top cream of the crop when it comes to performance and athletes doing their thing. I haven't been watching it that much, but I know the boys probably dabbled in a bit when they be able to dabble in. English has left the chat. With that being said, guys, let's cover the Winter Olympics. Let's start with Adam. He's probably been the one that's watching it the most out of all of us three, and then we'll pass it over to Mac, and then I'll end it off just covering what I see. Adam, how are you doing, my friend? What are you liking about the Winter Olympics, and how has it been for you?
Hello, guys. Glad to be back. The opening ceremony was amazing to watch. I thought that was a great start, and how they did that and suspended the rings in the air. I thought that was. I always say the opening ceremony kind of sets the tone for how the Olympics are going to go, and that opening ceremony was awesome. And the Olympics have been awesome. I watched speed skating, female speed skating. The Italian woman. I saw a race. I thought it was funny because I'm watching the race on whatever it was. I think it was Saturday or Monday. I don't know exactly when it was, but it was recently in the games. And the announcer is shitting on the Italian league. Like, oh my God, she's not going off to a good start. She's not winning. She's not going to do anything. And all of a sudden, you just watch her time get closer and closer and closer. All of a sudden, now she's in the lead, and he's like, oh my God, she's winning. I'm like, you were just talking shit about this girl 5 minutes ago, not even like rooting for her. And all of a sudden, now you're like, I can't believe this is amazing. She came back, so it was crazy. She won a gold medal in the last second. It was an amazing race to watch. So much so I had to replay it again because I think it was my wife was around, and she was like, I need to see it too. So that was. We watched it again twice. It was just awesome. There were some awesome moments. There's a great speed skater, an American speed skater, who won his. Who actually didn't win his thing. He came in second place, I think, but he. I think it was Schultz's name. He was okay. There was a couple of great men's speed skating races that we saw. They have this thing where they're like a team, and they have three of them running around this ice rink in a minute time. It is amazing. They have these little gloves that have spikes on them, so they come around the turns and put their hands on the ground, little spikes. It's awesome. And then I was watching the luge. Oh my God, that thing is crazy. This is why there's one lady fly down there, and they're like, look at her turn. I'm like, look at her turn, and you're going 70 miles an hour. I can't even look at her turn. It's crazy. And then there was this one called where you sit on the front of the luge. I forget what it's called. God, it's eluding me the name. Oh, it's some funky name, but it's a luge, but it's the opposite way, and it's so cool. And then there's a 2-man luge, and then there was what was on last? There was a team bobsled. Have you ever seen that? That shit's crazy. They were like one team would finish and they would hit like a paddle. Then they would open this door and another team would come down, and then they would hit this paddle again, and the next team. It was insane. So I've been bouncing around where I can. I've loved it so far. We've had the men's speed skating, the figure skating has been crazy good. I know people are laughing, but hey, man, I'm rooting on the Americans. So whatever events they're in, I'm doing. There was a downhill skier. I forget what her name is. I think her name was Michaela. She won. She had a great run. Amber Glenn, speed skater, the figure skater, just blew the doors off the opening. Her gold medal round right now. So it's been epic. I'm hoping the hockey team can advance to the gold medal games. I know they play Sweden. I think they play Sweden tomorrow. And that's a tough out. I think they're going to face Canada. And the American women beat Canada. So it would be ironic if the Canadian men and the Canadian women went and the U.S. men, the U.S. women go, and the same outcome happens. That would be crazy. But it's been a crazy Olympic Games. The fact that Norway has a lot of gold and medals and just medals in general, and Italy, the host nation, they've done a phenomenal job. They've been a great host. They've had great atmosphere. It's been snowing. The ski jumps have been phenomenal. I mean, the snowboarding was awesome. Miles Garrett's girlfriend won a gold medal.
That's right.
She was fantastic. And then there's Snoop Dogg. He's out there and he's doing his thing, interviewing people, having a great time. So look where Snoop Dogg's come from, being on Death Row Records to now on, the Snow Bunnies with Martha Stewart out in Milan.
And he actually owns Death Row Records now, fun fact.
Well, yeah, and now he's endorsing it. I wonder how he gets his weed over there. Like, you know that Snoop Dogg has to be packing some blunts with him somewhere. The international TSA is like, you know what? You can get on board. You can get on board.
I want to talk about that. Not to focus on weed, but like I think there's very few people like him, Willie Nelson. Like there's very few people that can really like get the universal pass. So no matter if it's illegal in your country, it's like, yo, you're an icon. Yeah, private jetted in, customs cleared. You know what I'm saying?
Cheech and Chong, just let him go.
Yeah, exactly. That was fun.
Yeah, but that's a story for another day. But overall, I think the Olympics has been spectacular. Best Winter Olympics I've seen in a long time, and not because the Americans are dominating. It's quite the opposite. They haven't been dominating, but there's just been the art of the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like the art of competition. You're seeing people break records. You're seeing races being won in the last seconds. There was one speed skating race where the guys all fell, and then this person ended up in like third place, and when he was like in fifth, it just was amazing. It's just been amazing to watch. A lot of fun. So, the Americans moving to number 2.
Yeah, they jumped. They're number 2.
Oh wow!
In total medals period. Now they jumped over it.
That's for today. That must have been from today.
It was. They had a big day today. I mean, the girl won the gold in figure skating, and then the girl Alyssa Liu, she won the gold in figure skating, the first female to win a gold. Women to win the gold medal in figure skating in a long time, apparently. And the hockey team got the gold medal earlier too, so they jumped leapfrog.
The Netherlands, they were great in speed skating. They've been great in speed skating. 9 gold medals, that's a lot. 27 medals overall. That's pretty good. Pretty good for them. The Americans,
they got 12 silver medals. So
that's pretty good. Yeah, I would want more. I normally want more gold, but I'll take silver. And you know what?
In the winter, it's kind of cool though. It's like Summer Olympics, you expect America to dominate in the Summer Olympics, period. But the Winter Olympics is understandable that countries like Norway, they're going to have that one up.
Atlanta in 2028, I think if we're not, at the top of the leaderboard in gold, something's going to be happening. But it's interesting because when you think about it, like third place is in the Olympics. I would love to be in third place in the Olympics. Like I know that we laugh and shit on third place in general, right? But you're on the podium, you're getting a medal, and no one can take that away from you. And even if you are, slightly less than everybody else, you beat the field. And I just want to shout out to the bronze medalists because I think they don't get enough love in general because we always think in society third place is bad, but in the Olympics, sometimes you got to run your life like the Olympics. If you run your life like the Olympics, third place is on the podium. So, I think it's something that we got to look at. And I'm sure the 6 people who won the bronze are fucking happy about it. I mean, I would be too. I mean, I went to the Olympics and I'm third in the world. You got to be like, that's why, we're talking about world champions. The Super Bowl happened during the Olympics, right? Which was a boring Super Bowl, but doesn't deserve as much talk as the Olympics. But when they say world champion in like the Super Bowl, I'm like, no, you're not. You only beat the United States, right? When you can literally say in the Olympics that you are a world champion, because look at all these countries that you are competing against. Not to mention the countries that didn't make it for the qualifying in certain events, right? Some events you need to actually qualify for. It doesn't just go out the gate. So I just want to say from now on, I'm going to call people champions and like Super Bowl champions or NBA final champions. I'm not going to call them world champions, but I will be calling gold medalists world champions because they do beat the world. And bronze medalists, hold your head up high. You're third out in the world. No one can take that away.
I think it's an honor to be on the podium at all in the Olympics, man. Whether you, obviously everybody you want the gold, you want this. But I think just being on the podium at all is an honor. Getting an Olympic medal, nothing can replace that. It's just
Italy raking in the bronzes. Look at that.
It's just dope.
I agree, man. Sure, you only get one. You get your flag raised at least, right? You get your flag raised.
Absolutely, you get your flag raised.
I don't think you get the anthem. I don't think that's for the gold person.
Only the gold medal gets the anthem, yeah.
But at least you get your flag raised, and that's honorable. You know what I mean? I think we lose. I think we need to get back with so much turmoil in the world, not just our country, but in the world. I think the Olympics needs to do what it does, and that's unite us and make us come together and watch just sport. I've been enjoying the camaraderie and the shit talking and the raising of the bars with all these people. Like in the figure skating, these women are coming out and they drop in friggin' dime friggin' performances where every one of them is a gold medal performance. I forget what event I watched the other night. I think it was the ski jump, and everybody in the it was downhill slalom, right? Skiing, and the American won, but everyone from like 5 on had like a gold. It was a gold medal, so everybody kept getting bumped down because the time got faster and faster and fast, and it was just amazing because you're like, wow, this is crazy to see. There was one hiccup in the ninth person didn't even make it past the first gate on skiing. I don't know what happened to her, but I was like, damn, that's embarrassing. But overall, the skiers in general, the first one that was actually number one got bumped down. And before you know it, that person was 6th or 7th because the other people rose up so much. And I just think the competition has been fantastic. I can't get enough of it. I love the Olympics, but you guys got it.
Hell yeah, dude. That was a great take, Adam. I love the fact that, you covered it and you've been watching it. I know I can just say it. I'm gonna be honest, it's hard for me to watch the Winter Olympics when some of the athletes that I used to watch growing up is no longer performing, and the athletes that I did watch is now in their older age. But I need to somewhat open up my mind because it sounds like when you're talking, you find love just watching all these different sports, and I agree with you on that. The Olympics is the only time you're gonna see me sit down and watch a sport that I would never watch, and that's why I love your take because it's like you get to see the one thing that stood out for me is when you said world champions, right? You get to see the best of the best compete for the championship of the world, the gold medal. You're the best in the world, and that just is amazing, and that's why I think pulls a lot of people in, and I think that's why people should care, and that's why we're covering the Olympics. We just came off the Super Bowl, but we started with the Olympics. I love that. I'm gonna pass it over to Mac, get his take, and then I'll probably wrap it up with my little small talk about it. Mac, what have you been loving about the Winter Olympics? Have you been watching?
I haven't really been able to get too much into it. Because I got a lot going on in life. But at the end of the day, right now, it's still pretty cool. Like I said, caught the end of the hockey game today. The ladies representing for the U.S., bringing home that gold, man. It was a dope ending to the game. The one young lady hitting the tying goal at the end of regulation, and then in overtime, getting it done in overtime, man. That was pretty cool watching them skate out with the gold, man. And that, but as far as just, Adam covered everything. I can't really. It's hard to even follow that. He's obviously been geared up watching this stuff, and he's all in on it, man. And I enjoy the Olympics. I usually do I take in a lot more usually. Like I said, I just haven't really had the time to watch too much of it this year. But at the end of the day, what I like about the Olympics is the fact that, especially us as Americans, we're so geared, football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Hockey's not even really so overly popular in America. More the Canadians and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we're so programmed in those sports, and we give all these LeBron James and these athletes and all these big the football players. They get all our love, and then when you get to watch the Olympics, you see how many actual just really phenomenal athletes there are all around the world doing what they do and how hard they work to be as good as they are, and they get to finally, that's their platform, their showcase, right there. That's we get Super Bowl every year. We get the Olympics every 4 years, and that's where they get to show out and perform to the world. People like athletes that you never would see normally, because they're not necessarily showing all the figure skating contests on ESPN. You know what I mean? They're not showing all the downhill skiing contests here and there. Like, you don't get to see that. It's not in your face as much. And then when you get to watch the Olympics, you really get to really enjoy it and see how hard these athletes work, man, and watch and they get their flowers, pretty much. They get opportunity, man, to get that recognition that they deserve, that true worldwide recognition. I mean, for what it's worth, like I said, I call this like a U.S. thing, because these athletes actually are pretty well known everywhere else in the world. You know what I mean? But it just is what it is when it comes. Like I said, here in the U.S., we're so geared towards just the basketball, the baseball, the football. Like that's the what's in your face over here. You know what I mean? That's it is what it is when it comes to that. But that's why I love the Olympics, winter and summer, man. It just, you really get to see like these special athletes go out there and perform and show off, man. And it's just always enjoyable for me.
It's interesting. I saw a lot of older people in the Olympics, and I mean older. I'm old, but there's like a 41-year-old woman who won a bobsled. Lindsey Vonn was 41. There was a 35-year-old speed skater. Like, not normally the norm in the Olympics do you get people this in their late 30s, mid to late 30s, and it's kind of interesting to see. Usually you get one or two, like, oh, look, this senior veteran. I'm sure I think there was one in like, that's they have the Olympic version, they have the winter version of that, like, that rifle thing where you run and then you shoot and you go to the start. They have the same thing. I think one time in the summer games, when I forget what that game was called, but they were like, oh, this 42-year-old woman is like competing. You're like, all right, I understand this event, but like, we have skiers there was a skier the other night that was 37. I'm like, damn, we're still doing it. Like, you don't realize in the NFL, you've seen Tom Brady, you see Aaron Rodgers, you see in the NBA, you see Kevin Durant and LeBron James. You expect older players. In the Olympics, when I was growing up, if you were past 20, you were done. Like, that was it. There was nobody when I was growing up that was in their 30s in the Olympics. Barely, if any, right? And in the Summer Olympics might have been a little different because Jackie Joyner-Kersee and those people were a little older, but they were not older than in their mid-20s. And I think the reason why we're not seeing the athlete that it is, and that happens every 4 years as well. And they stopped wars for the World Cup. But to land this plane here, I think it's great to see these athletes get extended like this, and it's interesting to see that they get extended like this, because you get an extra chance at the Olympics. Well, I heard some lady was in the Olympics for like, this is her 8th Olympics, and she won like 8 medals. I'm like, this is crazy. And there's one lady who just won the bobsled, won the most medals since Michael Phelps, or broke the record. It was like that, like, you never saw that. And I think with modern technology now, right? Because again, I think Mac was saying Americans don't like the Olympics anymore. It's because we don't have stars anymore. We don't have the Jackie Joyner-Kersees. We don't have the Joyners, right? We don't have the Carl Lewises anymore. We had the Michael Phelps for a while, and he helped do the mantle, but we don't have the Kerry Struggs, right? And the Tara Lipinskis and all those people that kind of were on the Wheaties box the same way that they were the dream team in the 90s, right? It was just a different era. Now, with this Olympics, the way that it's been played and portrayed, you're going to see some of these people for a while. And I hope that they get the recognition, like Max says, that they do deserve, because it's just interesting to see how long some of these athletes have done it, and then what we normally do, right? We don't normally have. I remember Christy Yamaguchi. She was on Got Milk commercials and things like that. So she was prominent. In the 90s, you had some prominent athletes. It was Yamaguchi. You had Joe Montana. There was Michael Jordan, because they were all at the top of their sport and their level. And when they would market them, they'd market them all. And the Olympics was one of the, big events, obviously, that you would market with. And so I just think it's great to see this going on. I was always a fan of the Winter Olympics, more so than the summer. While I like the Summer Olympics, you can only get so much track and field before you're like, all right, let me see a little different. And one sport I'll never understand is curling. I watch it all the time, and I'm looking at these ladies sweep the ice. I went to go Google their scoring, and I'm like, what is this? This is like a roadmap just to understand how they score in curling. So I just watch curling now just for what the yelling that they do, like shot. I don't really watch the scoring because I have no idea what the hell's going on, but it's been fun. I mean, I know the matches have been pretty intense in curling. And there's been a lot more team events. There was a team speed skate. These people came on with these helmets that were just amazing. I'm like, yo, this is what I need to see. The Olympics brings out these crazy, wacky sports, and it's good to get a piece.
Absolutely, well said. Curling is yet to be understood.
Well, they have different. It's like bowling. They have different size rocks they can use and strategy. I'm sitting there just like, all right, let me just not me. The simple game for me is let me get one of my, I guess the gist of the game is get one of your rocks closest to the center like circle, right? And then you can do blocks and all this other stuff. One lady did a block, so it wasn't even in the circle. It was just like outside the circle to obscure the line. I'm like, there's a lot. I was like, yo, this is too much for me, man.
You know what I like about it? Because I'm happy that you brought that up, because that's where I was going in my take. I was, going flipping through the channels, see curling competition. Just got done watching some YouTube videos about it because the algorithm is feeding me curling instruction videos, and I guess introduction videos to the sport, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, but it's pretty fascinating, and it's a high level chess match between the two teams, and like Adam was saying, seeing them kind of maybe. You're not necessarily trying to score in this shot. You're necessarily trying to block them from scoring. So there's a lot of high level mind games that's taking place, and it's fun to see just all these different sports that I wouldn't, like I was saying earlier, that I wouldn't necessarily watch, but see all these athletes from around the world competing at the highest levels, and I remember growing up and watching Shaun Wright and snowboarding and all that fun stuff, and I know he was there this year he was there, but he wasn't a competitor. You know what I'm saying? But like Adam said, I guess for me, it's like times has changed, and Max said it perfectly too. There's a lot of athletes that I used to watch that is somewhat retired, and I did tune into Lindsey Vohn's little race she did. Mac notified. I came on talking to these guys privately, and I'm like, "Oh man, did you guys see that Lindsey Vonn accident?" And then Mac notified me that she actually was competing injured, and that's what it takes, right? To go out there and to put your country on the, it's one thing to like carry a banner of a team, but it's another thing when your team is the United States of America, and when you're carrying a country on your back and trying to go out there and trying to compete for your country. That is just probably the most honorable and most electrifying thing that you can do as an athlete. And I know as a sport that we follow in America with the NBA, right? When you get selected to be on the USA team in the summer games, right? It's almost like it's an honor. It's like, oh yes, they selected me, and even like Tyrese was saying, Hallenberger from Indiana is like, he didn't even get minutes in the games, but he was just happy being a part of the team. We have the world champion in Tatum, not even getting runs in the games, but just a part to be selected as part of the USA team and get the medal and represent America. You was going to say something, Adam?
Think about what you just said. A gold medal is a rare thing. Every year you're fighting for a championship in the NBA. Every year. You may not win one every year, and you may not win one in your career. I get it. But the object of your career is to win one. In the Olympics, you get 2 weeks every 4 years to in basketball, maybe 3 or 4 days to prove that you're the best of the best of the best. And that gold medal stays with you. Long will the championships will be gone, but gold medals are something that to be honored and cherished, right, for a long time. That I think that's even the guys on that USA team. Like I said the other day, if I never win a championship, I'd rather win a gold medal, right? If I can't win a championship, but I get to go to that US team and I got to be a part of a gold medal team, even if it's like on the bench, that's more to me than a championship ever will be, because I can go to any team in the NBA and win a championship. Yes, there's luck involved. Yes, there's timing, but at the end of the day, every year there's crowned a champion. Every 4 years they crown a gold medal champion, right? So I think for me, the more precious one would be the gold medal.
And it comes with endorsement deals, commercial brand deals. You can be set up for life and live off of your sponsorships if you do it the right way, right? And yes, there's competition in between with little tournaments and qualifiers, and you stay active. But when it comes to the center of attention, like Adam said, every 4 years you get to put all your skills that you practices, all that tournaments, all that trials, all that things that you went to, and go out there and carry your country's banner. And I'm happy to see the United States up there, like you guys were saying earlier, up there in that number 2 sports. We all know we dominate in the summertime, like Mac was saying, but to be up there with second place in medals is absolutely phenomenal, because we're not really like Mac was saying earlier, there's a lot of countries that this is their main sport. We cover basketball, there's football, boxing, UFC. We have so much sports, baseball, that like we're competing against these people, and we're competing them, and they do this year round. We're like, I know our athletes do too, but it's just fun to see. But let's move on, guys.
Well, it'd be like this. It'd be like if you had the MMA tournament, whatever the biggest MMA fight is, right? And you did it once every 4 years, is a bigger deal than what it is now.
Yes.
Now it's a big deal now, right? But every year there's going to be a heavyweight fight at some point in time with two of the best in the world. But you don't get it every 4 years where you're representing your country. Now there are many different people from different countries competing, but it's not like, hey, you're in the UFC. They're not saying you're a gold medalist. They're saying you're the world champion, right? Because you beat people, but you're every year there's a world champion. Not every year there's a gold medalist. So, these sports, I admire UFC and boxing and things like that because they do face the world, right? Everybody, there are different heavyweights from different countries. The MMA people don't necessarily have to be, I don't know if it's a USA thing, but MMA is practiced around the world. So,
it's a most sport. Yeah.
It's almost, the Olympics are almost on par with them, but think about the biggest event in those boxing and in UFC, and then times that by 10, and you got the Olympics, and that's what really it is. Because I don't think the American sports really can size up to anything that these other international sports do. The reason why we get notoriety in these sports is because of how they're marketed in the NFL, but like in the United States. But if you look at the Olympics, like Max said, there are a lot more Olympic, people around in other countries because they do other things. Remember, soccer is their number one sport around the world, right? So
followed by cricket.
Right. So they do many different things, and they have their athletes in different they see their athletes in different ways. And even though they have these the games, the championships and all that are leading up to the Winter Olympics, right? Those aren't as broadcast and televised as they are across the world and in other parts of the globe, whereas in the United States, we barely put those on, right? We don't put them on. You don't see them on NBC. How many times do you watch NBC to tune into figure skating? I mean, unless it's a championship like event, you don't really do that. So, and these things are going on, these track meets across the world, across the country are going on, where whether it's college or professional, but they don't get the notoriety. Like, how many times are you sitting down watching college pole vaulting? Like, are you like, I'm not watching college pole vaulting. Like, what are we talking about here? Or college swim meet. You might watch a tournament thing that comes on some Big Ten network or some shit like that.
Yeah, maybe a track and field tournament or something.
I might watch it. That's those are my jam. Those are the kind of stuff I sit back and watch.
The one viewer they get, right? The one viewer they get. Like, it's like watching the water polo. Like, what the fuck is this? You're watching it and randomly it's not on, like, and if it's like when you catch the cross on those like Fox Sports One or those auxiliary channels that they have, like Fox De Ocho, right? Like they used to have ESPN De Ocho, right? And they have these random fucking sport on there.
You're going online. You're going to like ESPN 8. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Online, ESPN 9.
Like ESPN News used to have what is that thing called? What's that game called? Cornhole. They had like cornhole tournament on ESPN News.
Oh yeah, cornhole
championship. Sports, they have darts. They have darts. You ever watch a dart tournament?
You got a whole there's a whole pickleball channel. It's a whole pickleball network.
What I mean?
There is. It's a whole channel.
But what I'm saying is, you probably the main streamers of sports are the mainstreamers, so we don't get to see these athletes the same way. And I think that's what this Olympics has been able to do, is open up your eyes to the more athletes in the obscure sports you may not think about, which are just exciting because you're just watching your team compete. That's all I'm doing. I'm just rooting for my country. I don't even know what the sport is half the time. And I'm just like, give me your best shot. And if they suck, I say, you're not coming back to the country.
And yeah, and that's what makes watching it so fun, right? Because you know, we can watch a sports game, right? And we can be entertained, right? But if it's not our team, we could like turn off the TV and be okay with it if it's not entertaining, right? But for the Olympics, it's almost like that's our team because we're Team USA. So no matter what you're watching,
I don't even know how to bet on the Olympics. Like I can't even make a fantasy thing on the Olympics. How many triple toe loops are they going to do in a program? Like that's basically what you have to do for figure skating. Like because it's the thing is not like when you look at these fantasy sports, they're so easy because they're stat machines. Like the NBA was the first fantasy sports thing. It didn't get the notoriety that it did, but it was the one that started it all because you had stats, blocks, steals, rebounds, all this, but nobody played it the same frenetic as football. But I'm not sitting there I don't see ESPN pumping out, hey, come and get your Olympic fantasy league right here. Go to your fantasy league. It doesn't have the same, notoriety. And I think that's why I think the Olympics for me is refreshing because I'm not getting shoved down my throat. DraftKings every 5 minutes for prop bets and all this. I mean, I'm sure it's coming soon, but right now it's a little bit refreshing to watch a sport that you really don't know the outcome. There hasn't been a week of talking about, hey, let's talk about, I'll just use his name, Nancy Kerrigan or whatever for a week, right? And then she goes out and faces this person and that person. You get there, you find out who the athlete is, you see what the event is, they win or lose, and they go home. That's it. It's just so much like wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I kind of like it like that.
Absolutely love it. That was a fun conversation about the Olympics, guys. And then let's move on to the championship game that was just played. And let's talk about the world champions in the Seattle Seahawks. And then after that, we'll move on to some basketball. That being said, we do have the champions of the world, the Seattle Seahawks. I'm gonna pass it over to Mac. I'm gonna let him know I want to know what your thoughts on the game. I know it wasn't the best Super Bowl, but what did you like about it? When your likes, when your dislikes, let's get it.
I was thoroughly entertained, actually. I love watching a game like this, man. Down and dirty, get down dirty. I mean, defenses were phenomenal on both teams, man. Both teams' defenses came to play. I mean, Seattle, this was dominant. I mean, their offense,
they were scary good.
It was just enough. You know what I mean? Offensively, they did just enough. Sam Darnold definitely was by no means great, but the X factor, man, Kenneth Walker, man, that's why he won the MVP, man. This guy was the difference in the game offensively for the Seattle Seahawks. Without him, I'm not sure if this result is exactly the same, to be honest, man. Because defensively, both teams were cooking, man. And the way that Seattle was able to they got right into the head of Drake May, I believe. And I think they just rattled the young quarterback, man. He just I don't want to say the moment got too big for him, but I guess it kind of did in a sense, man. Because once they put that pressure on him, man, he just wasn't able to recover, man. He wasn't able to just really dial it up and like he's been doing all season long. He's been one of the more accurate passers all season. It just did not show in this game. And you look at Seattle, man, and you go offensively with them. Their best weapon offensively was absolutely shut down in this game. An absolute non-factor. JSN was a non-factor in this football game. And it took other people to step up, like a Cooper Kupp, former Super Bowl MVP, that he was able to step up in the moment. I mean, he didn't have a spectacular numbers necessarily, but he was able to step in and get the job done. And I just want one quick thing too, also from Seattle. Shout out to our guys, man. Leo Williams, Julian Love getting a Super Bowl interception, man. So like this is, I'm happy to see those guys.
Did you see the film on that?
Have some success, man. And
did you see the mic on that? The mic'd up on that?
No, I did not.
Mic'd up, yeah. They dropped the mic'd up on YouTube. You should watch it. It's so good.
There was a mic'd up one, and he's on the sideline, Julian Love, and he's like, "Yo, that kid's gonna throw me a pick." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "If I'm gonna drop into coverage, and he's gonna throw it right to me." And as soon as they did that, they did whatever. They came out the next play, and he threw the interception. They're like, and the guy runs over, like, "You called it! You called it! You called it!" It was just fun to watch that how these guys, how Julian Love picked it off. I thought it was great for him. But I'll let you finish your point. I just wanted to know.
I mean, this is great effort, like I said, defensively in this game, and that's what it came down to. I think a lot of people were kind of been trying to, especially after the fact, even more so after the fact, talking about, well, this is just kind of a reflection of the Patriots. They had a good year, but their schedule was weak, and it showed in this game. I think people were talking about no matter who would have won, the Seattle or the Rams in the NFC title game, that they still would have beat the Patriots regardless. And I just think that's kind of mess. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the Patriots got to the Super Bowl, and what more can you ask for? I mean, that's, like you said it best a couple weeks ago, Adam. You can only play who's in front of you on the schedule, man. You can't. There's nothing more you can do about that, man. It's not. That's out of their hands. And we'll see next year how they come out and respond next year as a young team, man. Like, they're still a young team, but they're still going to be a very well coached football team. You're going to get some new guys in there, some fresh blood, and just keep building around Drake May. And you see what happens. They'll be playing a first place schedule this year, folks. So can't use that excuse on them this year. I mean, so
right. And then, so I'm going to say next year, the reason why they suck is because that's all the people on their schedule. I mean, give me a break with that nonsense. I'm tired of that shit, because the Giants went to the Super Bowl and they played a last place schedule, whatever it was, but they ended up coming together when it mattered most, right? And they made their ride. So,
you can't. It just is what it is. Like, it's too much turnover in the league anyway. Like I said, I think people put way too much stock in the schedules. You know what I mean? Because it's just too much turnover in the league, man. Every year, how many different teams were in the postseason this past season that weren't in the postseason in 2024? I mean, look at the turnaround New England, Chicago, teams like that had this past season, man. Like, it's like that, and it's going to be the same way. It's going to be the same. Yeah, it's going to be the same way next year too. I mean, it's just what it is. It's going to be some new teams. Hopefully, the New York Giants are one of them. Competing. Out there and getting things done. So it's just. That whole schedule thing is always overdrawn. People were it just annoyed me, because after the game, that was the go-to thing. Everybody was just, they weren't really ready. They were like they had an easy path to get here, which in a sense maybe they did. They had a little
games.
That's where I disagree with those statements, because they had to play Denver, and Denver had a really tough defense.
They did, but they used, of course, the Bo Nix not playing, and that did make a difference in that game. But at the same time, they still got to get the job done. At the end of the day, you still got to go out there. You got to get the job done. And they did. They went to the Super Bowl, and unfortunately, they came up short, man. I just thought it was kind of crazy the way people were just had a hate just poured on after the fact. Like, it wasn't nobody. I mean, it was a little bit of hate going there, a little bit of shade getting thrown their way too prior, but it got really out of control after the game, and just like, oh no, they really didn't belong there anyway. It was Buffalo should have been there. Well, if Buffalo should have been there, then Buffalo should have fucking been there. Exactly. That's the point. I mean, that's the point.
Thank you.
They had their opportunity to be there.
I'm gonna let you go, Adam, but we definitely need to stop that shit, right? Like, stop, like respect, like, okay, yeah, they got fucked up, but who? Denver would have probably got fucked up. Any AFC representative would have probably got fucked up. That's how good Seattle was this year. So when we look at after the fact, like, that's unintelligent fans, that it's like you can't even have a conversation with those kind of people. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't get blown out like the San Diego Chargers did in 1994 when I first started watching. When I first started watching the Super Bowl. Right, that team lucked into
the Giants against the Ravens. Sorry to bring that up. Go ahead, Adam.
They lucked into the Super Bowl. No, that's a little different, because the 94 Chargers weren't supposed to do anything. They weren't supposed to.
I see.
They weren't supposed to beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh at the time. Right, they ended up winning on a last-second touchdown to Alfred Rapunu in the back of the end zone. Okay. Pittsburgh was the favorite. It was in Three Rivers Stadium. They were going to go on and beat the 49ers. but it ended up being the Chargers. I think Mac knows what I'm talking about. That team was not ready to be there. They were not. They've never been there. They had no. Stan Humphries was a journeyman quarterback. They shouldn't have been where they were. They got there because of luck, right? That's where I can say legitimately that the team had like. It's not like San Diego was great. They just got to the playoffs. They fought their way there, and they did what they had to do. They had a solid defense, and they played some solid offense. But they were never in any of those games that they played. I think they even played a Colts team with the Harbaugh back in the day as well, if I'm not mistaken. But my point is this New England team, that defense is legit. They kept that team in the game, unlike the San Diego Chargers, who met the 49ers. They couldn't keep them in the game. You know what I mean? They couldn't give their offense any opportunities to do everything because the 49ers were scoring touchdown after touchdown. They scored 6 touchdowns passing in that game. In this game, what happened was Drake May got a little skittish because his right tackle or left tackle, Campbell, couldn't block a wet blanket. Okay? He was horrible. He was terrible. And they were just caving on that left side and coming right at that kid all game long. And Drake May was under siege and couldn't do anything. And if you want to say, oh, the moment was too big for him, like you try to stand back there while Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, and these guys keep beating you senseless. They hit him on every friggin' play. That every time that kid got up, every time they dropped that pass, that kid was getting hit every play. So I don't blame him for that. And what ended up happening was because they hit him so much, he made a few more mistakes where Sam Darnold had some chances to make some mistakes, and the New England defense didn't capitalize the same way the Seattle defense capitalized, right? And you know, tendencies do happen when you're talking about a guy like May who's a young quarterback, right? His defense couldn't overcome his mistakes. What did I say? Sam Darnold, I told you guys, the Seattle defense had to be damn near perfect to cover up Sam Darnold's flaw. And he was not good in this game. He was okay, but he wasn't a winning performance. They won because their defense was able to get turnovers and get them short fields, and they scored on some of the plays. One of the biggest plays in the game was when the New England Patriots had the ball in their own territory, and Seattle got an interception or a tip ball, and ran it down to damn near the 1 yard line, right? So now all of a sudden you're talking about a game-changing play at that moment by defense, and that could change the game in the overall score. For the Giant game, they were in that game until a holding call ruined it for them, and they didn't take it seriously in terms of preparation, and that was well documented. I think if they took it seriously, they might have been able to do something, but that defense was a generational defense. You're not going to see that anymore. These defenses, what I liked about the Super Bowl, even though it was boring, is it restored my faith in defense. It restored my faith in that defense does win your championships, because look what happened in this game. What won Seattle this game? It wasn't their offense. It was their defense, and their defense making plays all over the field. A couple turnovers, a couple runbacks on those turnovers to set up your offense in great field position. And then what do? You give it to your bell cow back in Kenneth Walker, who's going to get paid, by the way. I'd love to see him in Giant Blue. I don't know if he's going to be available, but that's what you do. And that's a formula. And I give credit to Mike McDaniel, right? Mike McDonald, excuse me. Coming off that Jim Harbaugh coaching tree, going to Seattle and stepping right into Pete Carroll's shoes, right? Because Pete Carroll gets fired. He comes in, that team fights, and we know what happens to them. They end up not making the playoffs, but they lose a few games they should have won, like the Giant game and things like that, where you're like, oh, this team is okay. They're going to be in the playoffs next year. Did I see this happening? No. But if you want to talk about a team going wire to wire, Seattle went wire to wire. From opening kick of the season, they've been dominant all the way through. So you got to give them credit on what they did. And they had a hard schedule, but they just dominated teams, right? They found ways to win games. And I think, I don't know if we have a dynasty on our hands in Seattle, but they're going to be a tough out with the way they play and how they're playing, right? We'll see if Sam Darnold can keep it up, because I think you're starting to see the bloom come off the rose, so to speak, with him, because he was not spectacular and he was being figured out a little bit. And I think this is what happens to him in these kind of games and these big moments. He didn't choke, thank God for him. And I never thought I'd see Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl, so it's kind of funny to watch. But I think the Patriots are headed in the right direction. I really do. I mean, you went from the worst team, one of the worst teams, or number 3 in the NFL draft the year prior, and you end up being 31 in the NFL draft this year. That's a pretty good turnaround in a division where they have a chance to now be the top team, because who knows what's going to happen with Buffalo, and now they fired their coach. Miami's in disarray. The Jets are the Jets. So they have a chance to be in that division picture for a long time with the way that they're going.
You know, who thought Sam Darnold, the first quarterback from that 2018 draft class, would be the first one to get a Super Bowl? Sam Darnold.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And I mean,
yeah, that's pretty nuts, right? When you look at that draft class. I missed the last 2-3 minutes of your take, Adam, because I had a phone call. But so hopefully I don't rinse and repeat exactly what you just said. But speaking of Sam Darnold, thank you for bringing it up. Shout out to SC. You know, I didn't think him coming from USC. I didn't think he was gonna win one before Caleb. But look at him now. Like, go do your thing, Sam Darnold. The most winningest quarterback in the last 2 years. 14 wins with the Vikings, and what he did this year with the Seattle Seahawks. And you know, he's
a Super Bowl champion.
He's a Super Bowl champion. Exactly. And it goes to show, right, guys? Like, defense.
As Bill Parcells says, they can never take that away from you.
Never. They can never take that away from you. Exactly. And it goes to show you that defense wins championships. And what Seattle was able to do at the front four, not even applying that much blitzes, just getting there, hitting
the front
right?
seven.
The front seven. There you go. But speaking of like what Adam was saying before I got that phone call is the pressure. You know, you don't even have to you don't have to get a sack, but just the pressure, the hitting him, the extra bump at the end of the play. You know what I'm saying? The extra push at the end of the play. Just get that kid like, oh yeah, we're here and we're gonna be here all night. And I know Mac brought this up with some Giants players like Julian Love, like Leo, not only coming to Seattle but being captains for Seattle and really being leaders on that football team. Really like seeing that. You know, defense wins championships, and Seattle proved it. And Patriots, I mean, like we just looked at a coach that we all respected, that we all knew was going to turn around a franchise, take a second-year quarterback to the Super Bowl off of what? I know Drake May played great throughout the season, MVP type numbers, but off of defense, off of physicality, off of just tough nose old school football, right? And shout out to Gonzalez, man, to shut down JSN like that. That one bat he did to save that touchdown. That guy was on him all night, took him out of the game. One of the best cornerbacks, younger cornerbacks in the league right now. I love to see that, bro. Gonzalez is just a dog. And you know what? I'm not even trying to be like a Giants fan right now. But you know what? The Super Bowls looked at me. I'm like, hey, if Mike Vrabel can turn a team around in 1 year, if Seattle Seahawks can turn a team around in 2 years, why can't the Giants, right? And looking at the Super Bowl, I looked at our team and I'm like, man, we have a great defense, and now we have a captain of our ship.
Whoa.
And I just kind of feel like I'm not saying that Giants are going to make the Super Bowl next year, but I kind of feel like we're in the right direction.
Playoffs, please.
When I look at the Seattle Super Bowl champion rosters, it's pretty similar to a lot of rosters around the league. But the one thing that separates them from a lot of teams, right, is they found a guy, and the guy is I'm gonna call him a young Sean McVay. Mike is a genius. He called defensive plays in the Super Bowl against Mike Vrabel and a good offense, and he basically shut them down. And I wasn't really fully paid attention to the game because I had to work this first half. But the second half, when things stood rolling, you know, the Patriots scored. They're like, okay, one must stop, and then you know we can let's score here, and then one must stop, and we can be right back in the game. Seattle just boom, pick six. Okay, the game night, you know, just in the fourth quarter when you think, oh, maybe we might have an excited ending here. The dark side said nope, and they sucked the soul out of the New England Patriots. All in all, was it the most exciting Super Bowl, for my opinion? But it was a fun watch regardless. And good to see some good movies coming out. That's one thing I always like about the Super Bowl. We get some trailers, but Spain most focusing mostly on sports. It's good to see. You know, it's good to see a team like Seattle, a team like I hate seeing and it's not that I hate seeing franchises or dynasties, but I just get sick of the same team over and over and over again. You know, Seattle comes out of nowhere, like and no one. I don't think anyone picked them on mainstream television to even make the Super Bowl, and they come out of it Super Bowl champions. Fun to see. Go watch that.
I think they were.
Sat-
I think they were going to be fighting for the division, right? Because they had a decent record the first year. So I think, I mean, to touch on your point about the Giants, look, I want the Giants to make the playoffs. And I think with Harbaugh, they have a good shot at turning it around to at least be in the wild card mix, right? That's my expectation, is to be fighting for the wild card. If they happen to get further than that, fine. But if you look at that Seattle team, the reason why it's different is that Seattle team was good. They lost games because, Smith threw an interception here. They were just let down in some of those games that they played when he was a coach his first year. And they put it all together defensively this year. And I think when they got Sam Darnold, people were like, "Oh, that move might work out," or it might not. And it ended up being one of the smartest things they've done in the division, where everyone picked the Rams to be the Super Bowl representative. I know I did, because I didn't think Seattle's defense was going to be the way it is, and here it is, right? And so, like you said, I'm not saying don't be excited about the Giants. That's not what I'm saying.
I wasn't trying to be biased there, because when you look at the Giants, right, we have a good defense. We just didn't have a good leader to call that defense. When you look at Seattle and you look at the players on Seattle and you look at the players on the Giants, it's not that far off. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Giants to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying we can get, if with the right coaching staff, we can get pressure, and we don't have to full set. And we can have more CBs in the backfield and playing deep and stuff like that. And pressing, of course, we can get there for people. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at us this season, right? When you look at us this season, like we're not, and I'm not trying to steal Seattle's moment and talk about the Giants, but when you look at us this season, we're not a bad team. We're not a great team. We're in that middle area, and we was in a lot of games. We just didn't know how to finish.
We got to come to the conclusion that the Giants were bad last year. We can't sit here and nitpick and go, well, they could have won. They suck.
I'm not nitpicking anything. You just said Seattle last year you just gave Seattle an excuse for Geno Smith.
The Seattle team was a better team and was fighting for a wild card, and we didn't say Seattle was bad. Seattle was unfortunate.
I think you're missing the point, and I think we're getting too far left. I'm gonna move on, and I'm just gonna say that the Seattle, shout out to them. It's like Mac was saying, it's fun to see Leo and Love like going out there and winning the championship. To leave the Giants and go out there and be leaders on Seattle is absolutely right. And didn't want to cut you off there, but I just think that you kind of misinterpreted what I was saying. I'm gonna let you finish though, and then we can move on.
I'm not misinterpreting what anyone's saying. What I was saying, we were comparing the two teams and their turnaround, and all I'm saying is the Giants were in a worse spot than where Seattle was the year prior. The year prior,
I wasn't comparing it to I was paying on paper. If you look at the rosters on paper,
I don't care about.
We have similar rosters. That's all I was saying. I'm not saying Seattle definitely plays way better than us. They definitely are way tougher than us. They definitely have better coaches than we did last 2 years.
I mean, there's
talent. The talent is amazing. The talent, but that's what I'm saying. On paper, our talent's amazing. Our defensive talent on paper shouldn't have done what we did this year. Can we just all agree with that?
All I'm saying is
that's all I'm saying. That's all I was saying, Adam. I'm not trying to get mad or anything. I'm not getting mad. I'm not trying to raise my tone at you. That's all I'm saying. On paper, we're not that bad.
I got what you're saying. To land the plane is what I'm saying is the Seattle Seahawks went from losing Pete Carroll to getting a team that was 9-8 and playing good defense with their team to then advancing to where they are. We have solid pieces where we are, and I like where our team is, but I don't know if they have the capability of doing what Seattle did, because Seattle was already in the wild card hunt and already had a solid defense going in, a proven defense. I don't know what this is yet. I'm hoping it's good on paper. It's a hope and a prayer. They knew their defense was good. in Seattle. Their offense is what really stopped them in games because Geno Smith threw interceptions, which was a fact. We had some games where we were in it, but we lost because our defense was a complete collapse at some games. We can blame scheme, we can whatever. They collapsed, and they weren't a good team. Now, this year, I hope they can at least turn it around to get to the playoffs because they do have talent. And let's see. And maybe they'll be Seattle in 2 years. Maybe they'll be Seattle in 2 years.
That's exactly what I said. I didn't say the Giants are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I said the Giants could be the Seattle Seahawks. Nobody expected them to make the Super Bowl. Nobody expected them to do what they did in the playoffs. Nobody expected
but you're not seeing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Seattle was supposed to be a good team this year regardless. That's what they were. They were going to be a good team.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay?
Yes.
The Giants were not, they did not finish this year good like Seattle did if you're talking about it, right? So what I want to see out of Harbaugh is like what they did the first year in Seattle, which is fight for the wild card, and then maybe in a year or two put things together to get there. I don't know, because when Pete Carroll left, Mike McDaniel came in and they went to the wild card and they're like, wow, the Seattle Seahawks could have made the playoffs last year if they only did this, this, and this, and this. And they had a better quarterback. They go out and get a better quarterback, and now they're in a spot where we thought they were going to, where they thought, at least we thought they were going to be good. We didn't think they were going to be this good. We thought they were going to be good. The Giants, in comparison, have to do what the Seattle did and just be good. I don't want to hear about how good we look on paper until we actually see it and prove it. They were good on paper and they went out and proved it.
Adam, I really do think we're saying the same thing. I didn't say the Giants are going to win the Super Bowl next year or even touch the Super Bowl. All I said is we can be the Seattle Seahawks. Like, look at the Seattle Seahawks in the last 2 years. It only took them 2 years. It only took them 2 years to turn it around. That's exactly what I'm saying. We can be like the Seattle Seahawks. It wasn't like we're going to go and run through the competition and finish with 14 wins and make the playoffs. I said we could be like the Seattle Seahawks. Look how fast that turnaround was. That turnaround was 2 years. What I'm saying is, like the Patriots. Look how fast that turnaround was. That turnaround was 1 year. That's all I was saying. I wasn't trying to boast the Giants and talk about like be a Giants hip. Like trust me, I'm a realistic fan, and you know that. You know what I'm saying?
But when I heard all last year about top 10 and all this and this, that, and the other thing, and all I'm saying is until like Seattle had a different story. Their defense was good with Pete Carroll. They got fired because of what happened in the collapse with Russell Wilson and all that shit. They go back to fucking Geno Smith last year with a good defense. They get Mike McDonald. They shore up their defense. Their offense struggled, right? They still had the same personnel, the same coaching staff they had now. Then they get a quarterback. And because their defense was good, they ended up being a contender. We still need to build that foundation with this team. So, I mean, you guys can do whatever you want this year. I am not anointing the Giants nothing.
I'm not anointing them shit, Adam. All I'm saying is, if you look at the stats and you look at the talk shows, and this is kind of going on for too long, and we'll wrap it up right here. I know we're providing great entertainment, so the chat probably loves this. But if you look at the Giants this year, right, and I'm looking at a team, and it's all over stats. You can look up YouTube videos about it. They talk about it on ESPN. You've seen a team that was winning going into the fourth quarter, was winning the game. If we finish those games, Adams, with the shitty coaching staff that we had with Shane Bowen and shit, if we finish those games, we have double-digit wins. Apparently, we didn't finish those games. We didn't know how to finish those games. So I'm not going to appoint the Giants anything right now, because as a Giants fan, we know for the last fucking 12 years, we're fucking lucky if they win 5 fucking games, right? All I'm saying is, what makes me believe that this coaching staff can't come in here and maybe this coaching staff, those games that we couldn't fucking finish, we can finish. That's all it was about. It's about finishing, right? It's about Seattle Seahawks changing their franchise for the last 2 years to finish games and play physical. The Patriots, look what Jacksonville did. Look what Carolina did. You can't tell me, I'm not saying you, but critics can't tell me that the Giants can't turn it the fuck around when the Jacksonville turns it around, when the Patriots turns it the fuck around, when the Carolina Panthers turns it the fuck around. You can miss me at that bullshit, and that's all I'm saying. That's not at you. That's just about all this fucking shit. No. Look at our fucking coaching tree. Look what we have. Everything's on paper. As a Giants fan, not going to anoint them the shit. But I hope that we could be like the Seattle Seahawks, and in a couple of years, 2027, 2028, 2029, we can get out another Super Bowl and be the only franchise to win in 5 decades. I'm not saying it's going to happen fucking next year. Not saying it's going to happen the next year after that. I'm going to say we could be like the Seahawks because it was San Francisco. It was the Philadelphia Eagles. It was all of this shit. It was the Los Angeles Rams. Nobody mentioned the Seahawks in the past couple of years, and look at them now, world fucking champions. That's all it was about. We could be like the. I think you. I'm not trying to be mean, but I think you took what I said and you kind of blew it out of proportion, saying that the anointing the Giants as fucking 2000 like next year's champions. That was not like that at all. It wasn't like that. That being said, we can move on. I'm sorry. I wasn't upset at you or anything like that. I just kind of felt like sometimes maybe it's the way I say things is not really what I mean, and I could pronunciate more and I could explain myself.
Just move on.
Move on. All right. Well, NBA All-Star games used to be shitty as hell, but now they're getting more excited. I know the boys was talking about it when I joined early on stream, and I want to know their opinions, being that when they was watching basketball, it was a lot more physical. The superstars actually played and participated in these dunks, and for the past recent years, growing up in the last 10 years, actually, the dunk contest, the 3-point contest, it was almost like the Pro Bowl. It was like, why do we even care, And I kind of think in recent years with Mac and especially the last couple of years, NBA has been kind of changing things, kind of been trying to think of how can we make this better, because the numbers has been shitty. Yes, the city who hosts the All-Star game is always going to be popular with parties and stuff, but at actual games, it was like unwatchable numbers. I'm going to get your guys' takes because I have to be completely honest with you guys. I didn't watch anything of the All-Star weekend. I was just super busy, but I do want to get you guys' takes. And Mac, you have been silent for a while. I'm going to let you go first. What's your takes? Talk about the 3-point contest, talk about the slam dunk contest, and then talk about some of the games if you want to. Whatever you want to talk about.
No, I didn't see any of the games Sunday because I was working all day. But on Saturday, man, I took in the 3-point contest. And all 3-point contest was to me, at least for me, was just the highlight of Saturday. That it was just phenomenal. I've never seen a 3-point contest quite like that, where these guys were. I mean, we had the 3 guys in the final, the 3 finalists, Dame Lillard, Devin Booker, and the rookie from he plays for the Hornets. Kid from Duke. I can't remember his name off. But sharpshooter. Absolute sharpshooter, man. I mean, these kids, they were just lighting it up, man. I just never seen the scoreboard light up like that ever. That I can, at least not that I can recall anyway, in a 3-point contest, man. I mean, even go back to even the old school events, man. You had a couple of guys. Larry Bird gave us some memories, obviously, in the 3-point contest. Craig Hodges, guys like that. But this was something different. What I saw, the way these guys was. First off, the rookie kid that I'm talking about, I gotta look him up, man. I can't remember his name. He plays for the Hornets, though. He's his number 3 overall pick in the draft out of Duke.
I muted Kipnell or something like that.
Something like that. That is his name. Something to that effect. And just he came out and set the tone. Came out and dropped like a hard 27 right from the door. You know what I mean? Right on the first person to go. You talking about setting that bar? Yeah, he set that bar, man. He came out there phenomenal, man. And then, like I said, just watching those guys, it was just great. And then even that shooting stars competition, man, it was cool seeing some of the old guys, especially that competed in that. Corey Maggette, I forgot about Corey Maggette. He was out there shooting the lights out in that shooting stars competition, man. Rip Hamilton out there doing big things, man. Watching Jalen Brunson's dad dish out all those dimes to his team, man. It was cool. It was a cool experience. Like Adam said, dunk contest was pretty cool to me, man. It was. Like I said, I really do wish the dunk contest would get to seeing a little more star power in it, though, man, because like you get the shooting star competition had stars in it. You know that the 3-point contest had stars in it. The dunk contest is always these guys that you barely even know. And it's just like, you just want to see, I just want to see more. Like the guy that won the dunk contest, he was an undrafted second-year player, the guy on Miami, undrafted second-year player, man. Like
the year before that, there was a guy who was a D-League. Like,
yeah, like it's just Just get some more. I wish we could just get some more. I wish superstars would stop
demanding
being scared of the dunk contest, man. Like like you get you see the panel of judges, and it's like all dunk legends, icons, and they're judging these fucking guys that it's like, who are you exactly? Like,
roster twice.
Yeah, like it's just that's my one thing that frustrates me about the weekend is the dunk contest needs to get some elevated star power. It's the All-Star weekend. Fans pay their money. They want to see the superstars. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny? Is they should switch that up, because if they're going to put the main stars in the 3-point contest, then move that to the marquee event. Put the dunk contest before that, because I rather watch what you said, the stars from the 3-point contest, than watch these guys. And even though the dunks were fun, they were fun to watch. There were some creative dunks. Right, I'm not going to take that away. I thought some guys got gypped on some of them, but I did see that. I did know that there were some 50s. Right, I legitimately was jumped out of my seat a couple times. But my point is that if you're not going to put the stars on there, then don't make me sit through the 3-point contest with all the stars and then get to the main event. That's like going to the main event of WrestleMania and having Doink the Clown, be your fucking main event, your main attraction. You're like, what the hell did I sit through? I sat through all these banger of a match, and you give me the end. You give me this little okay, it was fun, I guess, but it's like that. Like that's what it is. If you go through and think of any card, any UFC card, WWE card, think of like CM Punk, right? CM Punk and Roman Reigns. If you had CM Punk and Roman Reigns, right, at the beginning of the match, and you had all these banger matches, and then you end up with what? Who's that guy? You end up with Americano as your main event, with the other guy, the original Americano, as your event. Well, they might put on a fun match to watch. It's not what you paid for. You didn't pay to see those guys headline the show. You came to watch it because it's the dunk contest, and the prestige goes away when MJ was in it, Dominique Wilkins was in it, Spud Webb, like Dominic went twice, like these guys, Isaiah Ryder we were talking about, there was many guys in it, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. People forget McGrady was a runner-up in that dunk contest with Vincent Carter. He did some phenomenal dunks too, but Vince Carter was just slightly better. Jason Richardson, whose son was in the contest this year, like these guys did it. And then you go to the All-Star game, which I watched, and you have all these guys in there putting on a showcase. I get it. But at the end of the day, how come you can be competitive in the All-Star game, be competitive in every other event, but when it comes down to this, I got to watch undrafted free agents who don't even suit up on a day-to-day basis. I don't see these guys dunk in a game. This is the first time some of these guys are actually putting on their jersey for actual minutes, and you're giving them actual minutes here for what? Sure. Did we get Zach LaVine's out of this, like with Minnesota back in the day, who's on the Bulls? I don't know if he still plays anymore, but yeah, did we get guys like that coming out and coming up? Sure. Did we get Corey Maggetti's of the world? Right, we did. Corey Maggetti was still a legit star on the team. I remember he did a front flip and got the ball and dunked it. It was crazy. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to give me rising stars, give me the athletes that are actually playing. I mean, you got that kid from Duke that was a rookie that's in the 3-point contest. Give me the rookies then. Make it the rookie dunk contest. And give me the actual rookies that play. I want to see guys that I see every minute on the floor. I don't want to see bums that are just riding the pine on the Laker bench that is just 6'5" and can dunk. And you're like, oh, well, let's put him in the game. And then I never hear from them again. Like that guy last year that went to the dunk contest. He went to the dunk contest. He won twice, right? The guy had an NBA contract. Like the guy is in a D League. Like, what are we doing here, NBA? The NBA, you want to get your fans back, NBA. You want to get your fans really back. Bring the dunk contest back. I think we should start a petition saying, bring the dunk contest.
I'll sign it.
Because we need, like LeBron James, you're one of the best dunkers of all time. I've never seen you in the contest once. I got to watch Blake Griffin. I got to see Blake Griffin jump over a goddamn car, but I can't see you do shit. Like, what are we doing here? And that's what I'm saying. If the NBA wants to, like, they used to even market young guys in the dunk contest, right? Like, they started this, I think, in the mid-2015s. And I remember, like, Derek Mason or some guy was in the dunk contest. Like, who are these bums? And he was like a rookie. but didn't get much minutes. But at least he played in the game. You're like, all right, he wanted him to have a solid NBA career. And you're like, all right, I can get behind this. But when you're pulling up G League guys, undrafted guys, I get it. You want to give them the opportunity, but if nobody is going there, looking on their bingo card on the roster, going, "Hey, I came to see that Laker player who didn't suit up all day in the dunk contest." Yeah, woo, great. That guy, that's the greatest accolade that guy's going to get all year is that dunk contest trophy. He's going to put it on his mantle. He's going to let it collect dust because he ain't going to do shit the rest of the year. Right?
You know what's crazy about that too, Adam, is like the cost of tickets, right? The cost of tickets. Go and watch the All-Star game, right? And you're seeing who's this guy?
If I went to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus and didn't get to see the fucking clowns, I'd be fucking pissed. Like, that's one of the main attractions that I'm going there to see, and you're not even giving it to me, and I paid all this money. You're not. It's like when I go to the amusement park, right? You ever go to the amusement park and they have the fucking ride that's closed and they still charge you full price? I'm like, how are you going to charge me full price, but your fucking main attraction ain't even working? But you're not going to give me a 10% discount? Like, nope, the park is half open. Pay full price.
That happened to me when I went to the Great Adventures. I went to Great Adventures at one. This is years ago. Great Adventures, and when the Scream Machine was like new, went there and that shit wasn't running. I was like, what the hell? I wanted to get on the Scream Machine.
But you paid full price. You pay when I pay full price on a day, I want everything open, right? When I pay full price to get into the concessions, pay $50 for a fucking jersey or more, 50 plus. That's I'm dating myself. $90, right, or more to get a jersey. Somebody went to a game recently and told me that they went to a baseball game or some type of shit. I forget what event it was, and they paid $90. They paid like $50 for some popcorn and a hot dog. Right, they got popcorn and a hot dog was fucking $50. I'm like, what are we talking about here? If I'm going to shell out all that money, like I'm going to a fucking resort casino, right, to pay all this money, and I go there and I see Billy Bob playing fucking dunk contest. What the fuck, man? Like, what am I doing? Where have I gone to where athletes don't even care about anymore? At the Pro Bowl, they don't even put in pads anymore. I mean, you want to talk about the Pro Bowl? What a fucking joke that is, right?
Flag football game.
The only game that actually gave a shit, and even the baseball teams give a shit, was hockey. Hockey was the only all-star game that gave a shit. They played for something. They were like, oh, we're going to play for playoff seeding or whatever the fuck they were doing, right? And then baseball wised up to it and said, you know what? We'll do the same thing to make it more competitive. And now the NBA actually had a competitive all-star game this year because guys like Wemby were like, I'm not playing to just, run around. I'm playing this basketball. I want to give you my best. I want to showcase for the fans exactly what we come to see, an all-star game. So the fact that you do all this, you make it a hyped-up event, you pump out all this advertising to give me Billy Bob in the dunk contest is ridiculous. Okay, I'm just saying that's my one complaint about the NBA weekend is you showcase all these stars and then you give me the fucking runoff, the turds of the NBA team that nobody's ever heard of. Guys in the G League, D League, and F League that I don't ever will see unless I get garbage minutes, right? You asked about LeBron James' son, and you say garbage minutes. That's exactly the guys you see in the dunk contest are the guys that are going to get the garbage minutes in the game. I just think I think for a thing that, I came up with Mac towards the tail end of the era where I got to see stars in the All-Star game, in the dunk contest. I got to see legitimate fucking stars. I'll never forget where I was watching the Vince Carter. I was in my room. I was watching with my brother, and we jumped out of our seats when he put his hand in the rim. And we were like, oh, my goodness. And then when he did the dunk under the legs and over the back through the assist, we were like, oh, my God. And then Tracy McGrady was there nipping at his heels. That's how good it was. Jordan had Dominic Wilkins twice. Twice they did that shit, right? And we're sitting here getting undrafted rookie free agents who won't do nothing. I mean, that's the contrast where we're at. And I just think the NBA needs to do their fans a solid and say, we actually care about you. We want to bring the thing that you come in and covet the most back. And the stars should step up. And what's the difference between getting injured in the All-Star game or getting injured in a dunk contest? I understand the liabilities. I get it. Right? You don't want your guys jumping over cars. I get it, but who cares? It's entertainment purposes. But in the All-Star game, I want to see Kobe Bryant was in the dunk contest. What makes you better than everybody else that you can't do it? And I think the precedent was set when LeBron James didn't do the dunk contest for all the years that he was in the NBA. right? And I think he was kind of the guy that if he had broken that seal and was like, yep, I'm going to do it, I think you would have seen a lot more stars do it. And because of that kind of I'm better than this dunk contest error, you see, Max can remember this. Baron Davis dunked with a headband on, right? Stevie Franchise had one of the best dunk contests. I said that guy was 6'3", could jump out the gym, right? But we got these guys who no one knows
can't
about
no more. He can't no more. I don't know. So he can't no more. I don't know if last time you seen Steve Francis, but he definitely can't jump out the fucking gym no more. That guy is a little butterball now, man.
He need to get out the line. That's what happens to a lot of you guys. I mean, they get that money and they get that fat and happy. But I wish like Iverson was too small to be in the dunk contest, but that would have been he was in the skills challenge, and so was John Stockton, Jason Kidd, a lot of these guys. So to land this plane, NBA do a better job and get actual stars out there that people want to see. It's one I understand you're showcasing young guys, but nobody's going to hear from these guys. And the NBA is different than any other sport. It's built on stars. The NBA is built on their stars, right? And you look at every other sport, you can say the NFL is built on teams. They have stars, but they're built on teams and rivalries and other things like that. Baseball, same kind of thing, right? The NBA is built on stars. Guys can drop 80 points on a fucking team and not win a game because they have fucking stars. Anthony Edwards was, before he went to the playoffs, was still good, right? And he still was getting accolades. And then they went to the playoffs, and now he's becoming even more of it. And now you have Wemby. Nobody knows anybody else in the fucking Spurs but that guy. Right. And here he is. If you're a casual fan like me, I don't know many other people on the Spurs, and here he is because the NBA is built on stars. The NFL is different. I recognize teams, I recognize logos, and because it's because their heads are under helmets, I don't necessarily get to see their faces the same way. I mean, the NBA, they run around half naked anyways, right? Like they have nothing on. They're wearing these jerseys, these pants, right? They all look like women anyways. And there it is. And I just think for me, I like the All-Star game this year. I thought a well done All-Star game by the NBA was let down by the dunk contest, which was entertaining, but should have had stars in
it. That's a great point you bring up too, right? It's like I remember growing up in the early 2000s too, is seeing how the dunk contest was such a can't miss event to an afterthought nowadays.
So they used to have camcorders when they were sitting there. Shaq has camcorders. And they're like, oh, my God, like watching camcorders for all you young people out there are cameras. Now you can do it on your phone. Just think of the camera on your phone. It was back in the day, it wasn't handheld. Your camera phone was a piece of shit. So you had to actually use a camcorder to record shit. You know, that's how aging we are. We had VCRs too, which aren't around. But the point is that the stars came out. Even the NBA drew stars for that game. We don't even draw stars now. Why do I even watch? And I don't know your name, and I have to look at the card, and I look you up on Wikipedia, and you're like the third guard on your team. You're like the 15th man on the roster. Give me a break.
Well, here the problem is, like back in the day, it was like the 3-point contest will warm you up on All-Star Weekend, man. But everybody knows what the show was. The show was everybody was there for the dunk contest, man. That was always it was a showmanship about it that just doesn't exist anymore. I mean, even with Dwight Howard when he was competing in dunk contest, he had he's a tall, big guy, standing near 7-footer or whatever. He had to have an edge, man. He came out there to one dunk contest with the court that was raised up a couple extra feet, like a 12-foot court, and dunked it, man, on like a 12-foot court, man. Like that's the kind of shit that just you don't see anymore. And I mean, there's a couple of guys still around. Like you said, you got the Levine's injured right now. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Zach Levine. I think he's injured right now anyway, so he wouldn't have been able to do it again. But like you got like an Aaron Gordon's. Why are guys like just not even coming back to like do it? Aaron Gordon, I don't remember if you remember that dunk contest. I think that was him and Zach Levine both. And that one year, yeah, man, putting on an absolute show. You know what I mean? Yeah, like we, just can't even get and they're not necessarily superstars, but they're still visible players that people you associate with, when you see them, you're like, okay, yeah, Aaron Gordon, okay, at least to that level. Like I said, I didn't know any of those four fuckers in the dunk contest, honestly. I mean, yeah, they said that one kid was Jason Richardson's son, okay, but I wouldn't have known anything about him otherwise. You know what I mean? Like the guy that won, who the hell is that guy? I don't know who the hell he is. You know what I mean? I don't know how much burn he gets for the Heat, but it's just to me, like you said, if at the very least reverse it, because that 3-point contest should have absolutely been the main event on All-Star Saturday night, because that 3-point contest was phenomenal. Like I said, dunk contest was entertaining and everything, but just like don't know who the hell those guys are. Like you said.
I think, yeah, you guys both said it too, and the answer is Adam said it earlier in his take is superstores, right? It's a superstore league, so when the superstores don't want to participate, then you have to go gather these G leaguers, and it starts with the very top at the pyramid, with LeBron and the KD and all the rest of them, right? It's like when the superstores stop wanting to do it, then and it obviously has to do with the teams too, saying that we got injuries and stuff like that. But basketball is the only sport where, like, well, I guess younger generations do, but like, when you pick when I turn to the TV and I seen Eli Manning pass to Toomer, I'm like, that's gonna be my team. I'm not gonna switch teams. Like say like if Toomer or Eli was to get traded, I'm not gonna go follow them. In the NBA, is probably one of the sports where like people grow up as Ant fans, right? So when if Ant never leaves the Timberwolves, they're not Timberwolves fans. They follow Ant wherever Ant goes, and Adam brought that up perfectly. And I think that's the stem of it, right? So it's a superstars league. The superstars won the show, and since they are starting to sit out, it's a trickle down effect to where we have gotten now. This is the tree that was stemmed by the seed that was planted many years ago, and now we're getting these G leaguers in the dunk contest where it's unrecognizable. And I was actually going to ask you guys, but Adam answered. Adam brought up some great memories for some younger generations watching the show. Mac, is there any memories you have in earlier dunk contests that people should go look up on YouTube? And Adam, you can say another one if you have another one too.
Look at any dunk contest basically from like the late 80s, the mid 80s, as a matter of fact, the mid 80s up to like
that's some good watches,
up to like the mid 2000s. You're going to see some phenomenal dunk contests, bro. Like I mean,
any ones that stand out to you though. What is some of your
favorites? Richardson's, the Kenny Skywalker. I mean, like. It's just too much. It's a lot. It's a lot, man.
Teammates going up against each other, starting teammates going up against each other in a dunk contest. Spud Webb, by the way, was 5'7".
I mean, Harold Miner was that guy.
Has changed.
Harold Miner was that guy. He wasn't necessarily a big time superstar in the league, man. He kind of underwhelming when he got to the NBA. But before he got into the league and when he was in college, he was known as Baby Jordan. He clearly didn't live up to that nickname once he got to the NBA. That went away fast. But his ability to dunk was always right, there, and he had one great performance.
But at least you knew who he was.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, Richard Jefferson was in the contest a couple times. I, as a Net fan, I was happy about that. He was a young rookie. Like guys. Like for me, it's like this: if you're going to showcase the athletes that you want to showcase, then make it prominent. Make it and give $20 million and send. I don't know what you got to do to get them back in there. But I blame a guy like LeBron. I can't blame KD because KD's not a dunker. KD wasn't built to dunk.
That's true.
That wasn't him. But a guy like LeBron James paves the way. And when he doesn't, want to be doing it, then that hurts, right? And then everybody else follows suit. And nobody wants to do it. Like I would love to see Anthony Edwards in the dunk contest.
Well,
right? Because
another thing I want to see. I'm sorry, but another thing I just real quick too. The dunk contest is like, where are like NBA? What are 6 foot guys that get up, that got the hops, that get up there and can do that shit? I mean, like that doesn't seem to. We don't get enough of that in dunk contests anymore either. Like the. I remember one year, even you talking about back in the day. Well, most people know him as he finished his career as Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, but he used to be known as when he was still known as his Christian name, his given name, Chris Jackson. He competed, and he was like a little 6 foot point guard competing in the dunk contest, man. And I mean, holding his own. Like it, we don't see enough of that anymore.
There are some guys that can jump.
Those are the guys that really electrify a dunk contest because. The shorter you are, the more electrifying the dunk looks. Right. You know what I mean? Than when the taller guys are doing it. So they just
like Jason Richardson
needs to get better.
like like the Jason Richardson kid. He had a dunk that if he completed it would have been a 50 with just the sheer size of who he was. But that was also the problem. Was the dunk he was trying to attempt, he couldn't do because his body type wasn't, didn't allow him to get there. Right. So for me, like I just tired of seeing these no-namers come here. Right. I want to see a superstar say, fuck it, I'm going to be in the dunk contest. Right. Like Blake Griffin was the last one I think I remember that was in the dunk contest. That was really a star, right? And he won, and he jumped over a car, and people were like, "Oh my God, now did Blake Griffin go on to have a great career?" No, but like, and in the NBA nowadays, the NBA doesn't have the same like Jaylen Brown. Him in the dunk contest was good because he's a star, right? He wasn't. They don't push him enough as a guy, but Jaylen Brown being in the dunk contest was good. I need more guys like that, in the dunk contest. And Mac is right. We don't see the 6'6" guys anymore that were athletic enough to do that, right? They don't even give us the good. I think the thing that we're more mad about is that this is a showcase of the showcase, right? You're showcasing everybody else in their respective skill set, from the skill sets of the point guards to the 3-point contest. Now when we get to one of the things that we watch the most, we're watching Michael Jordan dunk over to Kim Mutombo and give him the finger, the other day, the finger wag. When Michael Jordan was told in an All-Star game when he went there, in the All-Star game, Dikembe goes, "You never dunked on me, you never dunked on me, you never dunked on me." And in that season, Michael Jordan ended up dunking on him. I need those dogs back in the game. I need those guys to care. I don't know what it's going to take to do it, to get them back in the game. Well, but once a guy like LeBron and his petty ass leaves, maybe one of these guys will be like, let me do it. Right? Let me do it. I think it's up to because these kids don't grow up with the same thing that me and Matt grew up with. They're not going to grow up knowing like, look at this Vince Carter doing the unthinkable. Like I'm never going to see him do this in a game, and I don't really care, but I can see him do it here. Right? Instead, go ahead.
That's what the travesty is about the dunk contest nowadays, because like I said, back in the day, the star guys that competed in it, they had that star power, that star energy. Like look at Cedric Sabalas when he put that blindfold around us. I mean, it was just the whole way to everything, to build up the way these guys did it. There's no swag with it anymore, man. Like, I mean, the guy that won it this past year, he was out there dancing around and all that. But yeah, like you said, who the hell was it? D Brown, the year when D Brown won it. That the pump kept pumping his shoes up. Just that something like that give you that little something extra, you know what I mean? That extra showmanship with it. It's like none of that doesn't really exist anymore. It's just such a bland competition, and yeah, they got to do better, man. Like I said, it's All-Star Weekend for a reason. People pay to see the stars. Like they're not paying to see these fucking guys that, like you said, play 1 minute a night. if that.
They don't discount the tickets to see the bums.
Yeah, I think so too.
If I bought the ticket, I'd ask for my 10% discount. I said, "Can I get my 10% discount?" They're like, "Why? I didn't see 10% of the show. The show, the 10% I paid the money for it.
Paying $300, $400, $500 for a fucking ticket and I get it. Like I was gonna say, it takes the younger generation though, right? It takes like someone like maybe like Ant, John Morant, like go and dunk and have that swag again, right? Imagine John Morant. I don't know if you guys seen the clip, but I don't know. There's a clip where you can put it up on YouTube. The highlight of Victor going in the rim and John Morant literally over Victor. Boom, and Victor. You look at the size difference. Boom, and dunks over Victor. There's videos of Ant. Anthony Edwards doing his thing at the Timberwolves. We need people like that to just stand above the rest and come on and be like, yo, text each other. Be like, I know all these fucking players talk. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, let's just change the culture of the NBA dunk contest and bring it back to what it was. And it's gonna take younger players like that because
what it is. I'm sorry, Zion. Finish your point.
No, you're good. That's basically what it was. It's gonna take younger players like that because I don't think players like LeBron or the older heads is gonna do dunk contests. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Matt.
My thing is with the superstar thing is
I don't want LeBron to do it.
No, that's my point. That's my point.
My thing with these guys are
like Anthony Edwards and John Morant to do it. Go ahead.
It's a fear thing. These stars, they scared to lose. and that's ridiculous. That's just it's a cop-out. Michael Jordan, I think, lost to Kenny Skywalker. Kenny Skywalker was just relatively, I mean, he was a known basketball player, but he wasn't like, you know what I mean? He wasn't Michael Jordan, you know what I mean? But at the same time, went out there in that dunk contest and he got the W over Jordan. I'm pretty sure Jordan was in that dunk contest that year when Kenny Skywalker won. It was so long ago, I can't remember exactly. But that's the point where these guys, like for instance, well, just for the sake of let's just use LeBron because it's the easiest name to use real quick. LeBron, like say a guy like LeBron goes and competes in a dunk contest, he'd be embarrassed because if he loses to who's the little white guy that won the last couple of years or whatever that like won like 3 years in a row, would it be embarrassed to lose to that dude? I mean,
you talking about Mac?
Yeah, like it'd be okay. It's unfortunate LeBron, this little unknown guy got you, you know what I mean? But people still wanted to see you compete, and you gave the fans what they wanted to see still, regardless whether you win. It's not really about that. Just go out there and give the fans what they pay money for. I think it's like the whole low management thing. This whole I'm glad they're starting to step up and try to take measures to keep these teams from like tanking the way they've been tanking.
I'm not worried about
in
the
NBA.
judging. We don't care about the judging. No, man. We care about the star power.
It's just the fact that it like all this low management bullshit. Like if I pay my money to go to a game, I want to see the guys. Like if you're injured, okay, that's one thing. Fuck it, you can't play if you're injured legitimately. But you're gonna sit here and tell me I paid my good hard-earned money not only to get a ticket to come into this fucking arena, but to also to park my damn vehicle outside in the parking lot. I had to pay so much money just to even do that. And I'm coming in here and you're going to tell me that, Steph Curry, he's tired tonight, so he's not playing. So we're just going to sit Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, whatever. It's a joke. That's just a joke. That low management shit, that's what I mean about this era of the NBA. And this is why I have the issue. I take the issue with it that I do, because I respect the athletes. I mean, I don't take anything away from the athletes themselves. But the point is, you can't convince me that these guys could have competed back in the day, in the 80s and the 90s, with those guys banging around. And there wasn't no low management. You sat if you were injured. You didn't just sit because I'm just tired and want to take a night off. No, it wasn't none of that. It wasn't that. That shit didn't go down back like that back in the day, man. It's gotten way out of hand now with the way they're doing things. Like they said, these teams are doing things, trying to position themselves to intentionally miss the playoffs so they can get into the lottery and all kinds of craziness to preserve draft picks. It's a joke, man. That's why I can't take the NBA seriously right now at all, man.
It's diabolical. It's diabolical because, again, what the league is based around players, right? Your place based around your game around that. I'm not going to the NBA to see something that I can go see at a high school game, right? Or a minor league basketball team, right? I'm getting guys that aren't even worthy of roster spots, some of them, that you're going to see. And you're telling me to pay full price for it. And I refuse to do that. I remember going to a Laker game in the snow, and Kobe played like half the game, and not many of the stars played. And I'm like sitting here like, I'm glad I came out here. Thank God the tickets were only 25 cents. But, I came out here in the middle of a blizzard to go see these players, and they're deciding, I'm not playing this game. Like, I get it in the NFL, and even in the NFL, I get pissed. I get pissed at the NFL when they're like, oh, I'm, going to rest their guys at the end of the year, because, again, you're not paying any discount. I still got to pay full price for that game, just like I got to pay full price for the preseason game, right? Because, they don't want to lose money. And it's like, well, you're making hand over fist with advertising. You're making hand over fist with sponsorship. You're making hand over fist with the parking and other amenities. And then you have the audacity to tell me that, oh, by the way, the star player, which my kid, I just bought him a jersey, not me, but let's just say you're a parent who bought your kid a jersey, you spent $100 or so on an authentic jersey, not one of those cheap knockoffs you get at fucking Kmart, right? You got one of the actual ones you spend hard.
Lost
you.
Yeah, hard-earned money on, and then he's gonna sit the night. I think that's what he's gonna land.
$700.
There he is. Yeah. The mic is cutting out, Adam.
Saying you're paying money for all this bullshit, right? Between parking, between festivities, souvenirs, food, that adds up to like, let's say $500, $600, $700 to do a night out, the least you could do NBA is give me the players that I fucking played for, that my son or daughter is wearing on the back of your jersey, because I went to the extra store. I didn't get it at Kmart and get the knockoff version. I went there and actually got the real shit from your store, and I paid money. And now you're going to tell me, oh, by the way, sir, I just hate that. To me,
yeah.
And to me, I understand it, but like it'd be like you go to a hotel and the pool's closed. Like, what the fuck? I have to pay full price for the room, but the hotel, I can't use the amenities. Like, what the fuck is this? I wouldn't have booked my hotel room if I knew that, I wouldn't have booked my hotel room if I knew that the fucking pool was closed, right? That's the same thing with the NBA. I wouldn't have bought the tickets or gotten the courtside or whatever you're doing to be down there to see all this and be part of the festivities, only to be like, oh, well, by the way, the main attraction's not here. It just,
Yeah.
It's just an idiot shit.
Yeah, and I do get your point, Nomads. I do get it, because yes, the NBA has done a really good job on fixing it. The policies has been in place, but to Adam's points too, it's the lineup. The lineup lock window is so late now that a lot of times nowadays, yes, they fix the load management and the players can get fined if they don't play as much games. That's totally understandable, and I do agree with you on that. But it's also to a point where the lock is so late to lock in the lineups, the starting lineups and stuff like that, that sometimes too it could be a point where like you really bought your tickets and everything, like Adam just said, you're in your seat, and then this day and age you get late news. Maybe you go to a Clippers game and then you bought $110 Harden jersey and he's the Kawhi jersey, right? And then like you sit down at your seat, and then like the tip off is 2 minutes away, and then Harden's gonna rest for the night because he's monitoring an injury. It happens too often in this day and age. Whereas in the earlier days of the NBA, you had to be absolutely you couldn't walk. A little sprained ankle is not going to stop you from going out there and still playing. And a lot of now players now play on sprained ankles, but not to the extent that it was. Like, you really had to be fucked up to not see the court back in the day. Back in the day, no, what that the players are putting themselves back in the game, whereas in this day and age, the players are taking themselves out of the game, and that is the key difference I've seen. But basketball was way more physical back then than it was nowadays. And I'm a bridge generation, because I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I can see the transition of what the game has came today, and I can only imagine what Mac and Adam seen before my NBA time with Kobe and those guys. But that being said, guys, it is about 1:37, so we're probably going to be wrapping up this show. I just want to ask the co-host. I know the draft's coming.
Let me say one more thing real quick.
Yeah.
About this before because like it frustrates me, because like I say, as just a hardworking individual that I am, you know what I mean? I got to get up every day, go to fuck to work. Some days I don't feel like it. Some days I'm pretty sick. I wish I could just take a day off because I'm not feeling well. No. And I don't get paid a fraction of what these fuckers get paid. And it bothers me, because you get paid all this money and you're going to tell me there's nothing wrong with you, but I'm just going to take a night off because I'm tired and just don't feel like playing tonight. Like, give me a break. To me, that's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I don't care how many times you do it. If you're not injured, you fucking go out there and play. That's what you get paid to do.
I think that's the mindset of athletes.
It's like the guy, like James Conn said on the program, are you injured or are you hurt? And then Omar said, what's the difference? I said, what's the difference? He said, well, if you're injured, if you're hurt, you can still get up and go out there and play. He said, but if you're injured, you can't. That's the difference. You know what I mean? Are you injured or are you hurt? You get paid a lot of money. Go out there and do what you get paid to do. That's just that's all I ask. Is that too much to ask? Is it too much to ask for you to go do your job?
When I hear a figure skater in the 1990s getting injections and getting stitches in her leg and going out and winning the gold medal, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. That woman is not getting paid half as much as NBA players were, and she went out and performed. The thing is, to me, like, I know that when I was a kid, I never wanted to come off the court if I won. I may not have been good, but I never wanted to come off the court because it was about being a competitor. These kids nowadays are so pampered that it's hard for them to understand hard work, right? Oh my God. Like in baseball too. Like guys are on the 15-day BLs for fucking blisters. Like blisters? What are we fucking doing here? Like we lance that shit, put a Band-Aid on that shit and get back out there. Like I understand pitchers, right? You want to talk about the biggest joke of a fucking position? Those people pitch every other night. They pitch every other night. Like, what are we talking about here, right? So, it's in every fucking sport. The only sport that's not in it is football. But the football, they become basketball and turf now. They're trying to switch everybody in and out and have packages for everybody and all this other bullshit. Guys can't even play 60 plays anymore because there's always got to be somebody switching out or analytics. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying go back to old school where like you're eating salt tablets, because you're not getting water. I'm not saying do that shit. I understand hydration and your body and all that shit needs to be. I'm talking about the competitive spirit. It gets lost on these children because they want to come in and cry about, oh, well, I don't want to play 82 games this year. Motherfucker, how many games are in a season? How many did you sign up for? Did you sign up for 40? Because I'm only going to give you half your fucking salary. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. If Mac decided not to go to work for half the time or me, then like they'll either fire me or give me half my salary. And then I'm going to be like, well, what about and then I go, what about the rest of my salary? They're going to be like, what do you mean, what about the rest of your salary? You didn't show up for the rest of this time. So why am I going to pay you? That guy who misses that load management game, guess what? He's still getting his fucking game check, right? He's still getting his game check. He did nothing in the game. But you still went out and paid your money.
It's like Lindsey Vonn. Lindsey Vonn went out there, competed, 40-year-old competing in the Olympics with a torn ACL. Like, come on, man. This is what I'm talking about. Us all, like, that's just because she wanted to make sure she went out there, go out there and compete for her country. And she wasn't going to let a torn ACL stop her, even though that it led to even a more serious injury. But unfortunately, that she still had that fire, the desire to go out there and compete, not just say, I'm gonna take this one off, because she obviously it's not likely she's getting another opportunity. You know what I mean? So she went out there and did what she had to do. And I mean, look at Carrie Shrug and back in '96 in the Atlanta games. If anybody knows that story about her, her ankle was torn up, wrecked, but she had to go out there and she had to stick that vault to get the gold medal for that, to secure the gold medal for the women's Olympics team. And that was and she went out there and did what she had to do, all guts, man. And she stuck that landing. Believe me, I remember watching it live. She stuck that landing on a bad ankle. You know what I mean?
With because one leg. She literally landed on 1 foot. You know how hard that is?
That's the heart I'm talking about. And I need these NBA guys to get that heart. That same kind of heart that these kind of athletes have, man.
Tom Coughlin showed a video in, I don't know, 2011 or 2007 of a girl who collapsed at the end of her race. And instead of lying there, that girl crawled to the fucking finish line because she wanted to finish the fucking race. And that's what NBA players need to do. Finish the fucking race. Athletes in general, finish the fucking race. Because at the end of the day, you're competing for more than just yourself. You're competing for the name on the back of your jersey, and you're competing for the integrity of the sport, right? When you step out on there, I'm looking at my little son play basketball right now, and I'm trying to get that dog out of him. See ball, get ball. See ball, get ball. He's still learning the fundamentals of the game, right? He's still just out there bobbing around and having a good time, and it's hard to not get the juices flowing in the gym and saying, what made Adam stand out? Was I a great athlete? No, but when I went up there, I was not scared of anybody that I played. Did I understand I wasn't better than most guys? Yes. You understand your competition. You understand your limitations. You give it your all. But I wasn't going to back down from a competition because, on the court, because guys were bigger than me. Heck, I used to be sometimes I was the biggest guy on my team at sometimes when we were playing on 5-on-5. So you had to do what you had to do, right? You didn't just take things off. Going to work every day, right? Some people go to work through sickness because they don't have sick days because they have to feed their families. They don't get the opportunity to do it. So I see these athletes who do it, like football players. They don't even practice anymore. They used to have 2-a-days. You know why the product sucked for 4 weeks?
Can't even hit in practice anymore. It's a joke.
They got 12. You know how many practices they get to hit? They got like 17 practices to hit. You know how many practices I had? I had 3-a-days. That's right.
Yeah.
3 a.m. I used to wake up at 5 in the morning, do a 5 in the morning camp, run, practice, right? Then I go back for breakfast. Then I have a walkthrough for lunch. Then I have an afternoon practice, okay, in the middle of the friggin' heat. And then I have another practice. You might as well call it 4 days because we had the fourth practice where we still went out in the field and did some type of jog or some shit, right? These kids don't get that shit anymore, right? Because, oh my God, a couple of this, that. It's on your coaches to hydrate you. It's on your coaches to put the program and say, take a break. If somebody's going to be a tyrant and not give you water, then maybe we should look at the coach itself. But these kids don't practice the same way. It shows up in the product in the NFL the first 4 weeks of the season because nobody's hitting, and it's different. Why do you think the hitting in the NFL is so bad? Because they don't practice form tackling in the NFL. When you tackle, and Mac knows this, it's different when you tackle with your shoulder pads and when you don't tackle with your shoulder pads. When you don't tackle with your shoulder pads throughout the week, that's not what's happening in the game. Because in a game, the practice is controlled environment. Everything is scripted. Everything is in emotion, right? You're not really doing a lot of football stuff in a practice. Go watch an NFL practice. They're not doing Oklahoma drills. We used to do Oklahoma drills. If you don't know what that is, it's like bull in the ring. Basically, they put you in a circle, and they have 2 people in there, and you got to get the fuck out of that fucking circle, okay? By any means necessary. There's also where they used to do they do it in college more so than they do in the NBA and the NFL, where you had the 2 linemen, 2 D linemen, and it was basically 3-on-3, right? And you played 3-on-3, and it would be you got to go hit somebody. They don't do that anymore because of CBA. And then you wonder why there's all these soft tissue.
What's the one where they run at full speed to each other?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like concussions, people built calluses, right? LT played with a fucking torn shoulder. Put a fucking strap on that thing and got him back in the goddamn game. Why? Because that's what you did. Now you'd be out 3 weeks on the injured list, on the PUP list. You won't be seen anywhere in the facility. Guess what? LT played the rest of the year. He didn't miss a damn game after that. They just put a harness on him and they said, go out there and do it. That's the mindset that we don't have anymore. And that's why we get these load management games. That's why we get these people that, oh, well, I need to take a day off here. Like, I get it. I understand the training regimens for these players are now 24/7. They're training wherever they go now. If they're going to Italy, they're going to France, they're bringing their trainers and nutritionists. I get that grind. But the Mamba mentality, the Jordan mentality. Jordan wasn't going there to grind. Jordan was going there to be the best of the fucking best. Kobe was going out to be the best of the fuck. You think Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan want to take a day off? You think they want to take a day off? They didn't want to take a day off because that's a sign of weakness. That's a sign of fucking weakness. They want to beat you and they want to beat the best of you, and they're going to show you up. I just told you a story about the All-Star game where Mutombo said, you never dunked on me. You never dunked on me. You know what that did? That ate Michael Jordan up. That in a game against the Atlanta Hawks, what did he do? He dunked on Mutombo and then gave him the signature handshake because that's what he did. Another story I heard about Michael Jordan is somebody was pissing him off in the game, and they were like talking shit to Michael and saying, oh, looks like you're not having a good game, Mike. Guess what Mike did? He said, oh, yeah, watch this, Rook. 42 points later, he's looking at the bench like, I thought you were talking. I thought this guy was going to shut me down. Like, we don't got that anymore because we take it away from the game. We get everybody a fucking participation award. We allow them to miss this. There's no commitment to teams anymore. You can just quit with no fucking recourse. And I just think that's where you're seeing it. And it comes out in the field. Like we talk about dogs on the field. And all that bullshit.
Cut a piece of his finger off just so he didn't have to miss a game. Literally, cut a piece of his finger off so he didn't have to miss it, so he wouldn't have to miss the game.
Yeah, Bavaro is drinking milkshakes out of because his jaw is fucking sewn shut for weeks. But nowadays they don't have that. And I'm not saying to go out there and maim yourself, but there's a difference if you can play a game, the separated shoulder or whatever. It was not going to get worse, right? And I understand liabilities, and it's a different time now. I understand that. But I think the mental desire to be great is lost. I think people are okay with being okay, and they're okay with just going through the motions. Like, to me, if I'm a competitor, I want to compete every night. Like, what do you hear about that? I'm going to land this plane now. What do you hear about these guys when they lose their retirement? They hear, oh, I missed the camaraderie, I missed the competitiveness. I'm a competitor. You know what Michael Jordan does? Michael Jordan still competes to this day. By the way, he won a championship in NASCAR Daytona 500. His team won. Let's just slip that in there for you. I know a lot of people thought he was touching a little child. He was not. He was taking the ice out of that kid's back. But he wins championships everywhere he goes. He's competitive. He wished he was out on the race in the race car. Like Michael Jordan's in his 60s, and he still has that drive to compete, to be the best. I heard stories about this guy beating people in practice one-on-one because he just didn't want to lose. In bets, same thing. He went out with a guy on. They bet him a night in the game. They bet on like how much he would have, and the guy was telling him, "Oh, Mike, you're gonna owe me money. Mike, you're gonna owe me money." Before you know it, the guy's owing Mike Jordan money because there was just that drive, and we don't have that anymore. And I think that's why you see all this bullshit, pussy ass type of sports. And a lot of these injuries happen because we don't build callus. Imagine if a boxer went out, didn't do any sparring, only did shadow boxing, and then went out and fought a 12-round fight. It ain't going to look good.
I mean, Eli was a tough guy. You're right. I mean, that 2007 season, separated shoulder week 2, and just went out there and he didn't miss a beat, didn't miss the game. They read the whole season. But a separated shoulder playing the quarterback position. Who went out there and led the Giants to a Super Bowl that year, man. I mean, that's just something else on Eli's resume. He doesn't get nearly enough credit for. It's his absolute toughness, man.
Because they broke that streak. Had they not broken that streak, I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's just, I can't believe they did that.
Had they not boxed the way they did, he's probably in the Hall of Fame. But that's a story. You know me and my stance on the Hall of Fame. Fucking jokes of a joke. You might as well call it the Hall of Shame the way they're putting these guys in.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. It's just sad, and I see it in all walks of life too. Not only sports, you see it in music, you see it in movies. You know, everything is just it's changed. And another thing I want to point out too with the NBA, one thing I don't like about them too is like how like the first 3 weeks of February and the last weeks of March, teams are so worried about like draft stock and lottery or like it's All-Star weekend and trades that like you literally is a trash lineups. Like all the starters, all the bench players are benched, and it's literally like players you don't even know. And like you have 83, 82 games in the season, and I swear like 16 and 17 of those games is just non-factor games because it's All-Star weekend's approaching and trade deadlines is approaching, and let's not play these players. And you look at the roster and nobody knows is playing. Like nobody. It's just like who is this guy? That guy came up that guy got elevated from the G League just to play in this game. It's gotten really weird.
You also got to look at the ownership too, because that's a shame.
Yeah,
that's a shame too. Like if you're ownership and I owned a team and guys aren't playing because they're tired, I would go down to coach and be like, "What the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing?" Well, we want to take I understand why the Giants don't tank, right? Because John Mara doesn't want to sit out there and watch a losing product.
Yes.
Now we know why. We know why the Giants need to tank, not because we want to see them lose, but because we understand what it meant to getting a quarterback and things of that ilk. We don't want to see them tank every year, but the year we need a quarterback, you want to see them tank. Right now, last year we had Jackson Dart. I didn't want to see them tank last year. I wanted them to win games and have fun. Right? They sucked for many other reasons. Jackson Dart not being one of them. But now this year, what do you have? You have more of a with the new coaching staff. You have a renewed sense of self. Right? I don't want to see losing. If I'm an owner, I understand where John Mara is coming from and like saying, "Hey, I don't want to see this." But if your team's abysmal and you need to fight for the first round, I get it, right? You're injured. Like if your guy, like for example, let's use you bring over Jimmy Butler. He's fucking injured in and out of the lineup, right? I understand you playing young guys in rotation and pulling guys back because we don't got a shot this year. I need to see some young guys play. And usually in the NFL and the NBA, you can see that and you can evaluate guys. Nowadays, you can't even evaluate guys because some teams want to win and some teams want to tank. And they're not tanking like bringing in players that can help them. They're bringing in players that are practice squad players that haven't played a single down in the league or in the thing. And what's happening is the quality of play goes down, the competitiveness goes down, and now, you get like the NBA has a draft lottery, so I understand why they tank. The NBA and the NFL doesn't matter about tanking. You shouldn't matter about tanking because
exactly,
but because they don't have a lottery, right? So if if you do that, I have to question ownership if you're tanking on purpose. Besides, like competitive nature. Like if you're the Raiders and you need Friday Mendoza, okay, I get it. You want to pull some guys here. Your fucking team stinks anyways. If you know your teams, there are teams that don't know they stink and are pulling guys halfway through the year because they start to see the writing on the wall, right? I remember when the Giants were bad, I got to see players that were young, even though they were bad, because the guy was injured. And we're like, we want to see this guy for next year. They don't even do that now. They don't want to do it. And I hate when people sign off for 16 games and only give me 15. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? It costs the fucking – what's that team that sat this year? Was it Tampa Bay? Somebody sat this year, and it cost them the next week, right? And that's what I'm saying. Players are creatures of habit. You don't get enough playing time and practice
I'm talking
time.
about the Eagles. The Eagles did that shit.
Right.
Eagles,
and
yeah.
they lost. Right.
Yeah.
And they lost. And they didn't even win. It looked like they looked the part too. It looked like they weren't in sync. And I'm saying, like, when you have lack of practice time because of CBAs with all these new fucking rules where everyone's a softie, where you can't do shit these days, then you want these players to put in the extra work, but they're putting in the extra work to get better at their skill, not get better as a team, because you don't have team facilities anymore. I remember teams used to report in March, right? You used to talk to your players in March. Now you have late April when you meet your fucking team, and you have phases of going on the field, and you have certain time constraints that you didn't have, right? Why were players good back in the day? Because they can go into the field, they can be monitored in March and say, hey, coach, how do I get better? And get better at their craft. What they're doing right now is they're getting better at the fundamentals, but they're not getting better at their game plan. They're not getting better at what the coaches are teaching them. They're getting better to survive whatever it is they're surviving, right? Because they can't go to the facility and and talk to coaches the same way. They don't have the same autonomy. Your QB coach is not necessarily doing, unless you're requesting it, right? Unless your QB coach is talking with, and I'm talking about your personal trainer coach, is talking to your actual offensive coordinator and getting the right things. All you're doing is getting, like Jackson, I'm working on my footwork. Am I working on my footwork for the new system, or am I working on my footwork just to work on my footwork? Like that's where we're at right now. We're not at the time where people are getting better at their craft with their coaches. They're getting better at their craft to just be better at their craft. And they're not working with the actual guys that they're working with day in and day out. They're working with their personal trainer and they're this and they're that. And then when they get to the actual when they get to the actual sport itself, then they have to relearn everything, because now you have to learn the system that is now being put in place, right? Whereas in where I grew up and when Mac was watching football, you can go in March. Your system's already done. Like if you listen to John Harbaugh's interview, right? He's like, by the time you walk in April, we're already like by where we would be at training camp. Like that's how your mentality has to be, right? That's not every NBA team. That's not every NFL team. Some teams are just installing their stuff. Harbaugh wants to be like, once you get in the building, like whenever you're in the meetings and we get on that field, it's not like we're learning. It's like we're already in phase 3, not in phase 1. And you never got that. You lost it in the new collective bargaining agreement because the players thought it was too much. And you lose the product of the game because guys get in trouble more because they're not around the facility. Guys don't train the same way and train properly because they're training. Like when you watch Malik Neighbors train, he's doing agility drills. I don't see him running the routes that you need and the things that you need. You're running those like Odell Beckham show you all those things.
Damn, that's old school right there, Bookends. That is old school.
Exactly. Guys need to be knocked the fuck out before you call the fight. Now they get to their feet and they have a drop of blood and they're like, oh, that's it. That's it. Like, so I'm just saying the era has changed because legislation has changed in the game and the game is impacted by the product on the field. And I just think I think what we need to get back to is giving me my players. I need to see my stars, God damn it. If I pay for money, I don't care if it's week 16. I want to see the starting lineup in week 16. I went to a Dallas Cowboy game against the Giants in 2004, Eli Manning's rookie year. Each team played their starters. It was a contentious game. I got to watch Eli Manning audible for the win with Tiki Barber. Whether it was a dummy audible or not, it still worked out. But I got to watch Eli Manning that game, and it meant the world to me because this is a meaningless football game, and here's the rookie playing his heart out. Jackson Dart, same thing with the Cowboys this year.
Yeah. I would say that to add on to that is teams didn't know how to have patience again. If nobody had patience with Peyton Manning, if nobody had patience with John Elway, right? We're so fast to expect these young quarterbacks to come in and actually relearn a whole new system, a whole new game. Like college, the hashes are like 40 feet apart. But the NFL, it's only 18, so it's a whole different field. And we expect these quarterbacks to come in and just pick it up like that. By Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl, even though it was mainly because of defense, Sam Darnold had an awesome season. And when you look at that, the Jets are regretting that, right? So it's almost as if we gotta have my patience with these quarterbacks because you gotta expect the most hardest position on the field to be mastered in under 2 years. I get it, we're gonna have bad quarterbacks like Josh Rosen and stuff like that. That you kind of can see. But when we have these quarterbacks that didn't really get a chance to develop because the teams are so fast to draft the next one and push them out the building. We need to have my patience with these younger players as well as everything you just said. Yeah. That being said, guys, anything else before we wrap up the show? We didn't really talk Giants today because we got the combine next week. We'll probably cover that in last week's episode, and then we got free agency after that. So trust when I say that there's going to be a lot of football talk on this channel. There's going to be a lot of Giants talks on this channel. But right now, we just want to focus on the Super Bowl, the Olympics, the NBA, and dabs like that. Anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up the show?
I ain't got shit, man. I ain't got nothing. I be talking about the NBA. Y'all know I don't do that normally. But
we thought those throwback days of the Olympics, man. I just want to say this: the knowledge that these guys have about the Olympics and how far back it was really interesting to me because you never knew who knows what and who watches what. I mean, Mac's out watching late night. Lacrosse on, the ACC network and the Big Ten Network. He's watching, slam ball that's coming on Spike TV, back in the day. So,
I don't watch handball. I don't watch handball matchups. I don't care. I like watching stuff that not necessarily just the usual thing. It's always interesting. It's always kind of interesting. I love beach volleyball in the Olympics. Some of them, so you can't. I watch all the beach volleyball.
You know what I just seen a couple months ago is they're having drone races now on ESPN. I'm like, we're living in a whole new time.
Yeah, they had cornhole on ESPN too, and darts on NBC. I mean, that's how what sporting event I watched that really a sporting event is that car auctions. They put it like NBC Sports. That's so
the grand annual pedigree dog event.
You watch the Puppy Bowl.
Nice. Word, no Mets. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's what always gets my attention every time.
Why did you get
for the aerodynamics?
We're not there for the game. Come on.
That is funny. Hell yeah. Well, I'm gonna pass the mic back over to Matt.
One last thing. It's like women's tennis when you hear them when they hear them grunt and stuff. You're not watching the women's tennis to watch women's tennis. You're watching the volley.
Absolutely. I agree. I do agree. It adds an extra, something to the game. It does. I totally agree with you on that.
I'm sorry.
Let's get it. Back over to you, Mac. You can close us out. Let's get it.
Appreciate everybody tuning in once again tonight for another edition of the Premium Takes Podcast. We will be back next week talking a little bit more, whatever's out there to talk about, man.
More female tennis.
Wrapping up the Olympics, whatever. Talk about some more beach volleyball, whatever. Whatever's on our mind, obviously. You know what I mean? We're going to do what it is we're going to do, man. Throw them fours up. Get them fours up for our guy, the one and only NYG, Jeffy T. Always still with us, man. Never going to forget about Jeff, man. Man, we'll be back. I am Macdagiantsfan. As Zion Zenith. And that is Adam Costas, man. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring that bell, man, for us all, bro. And we'll be back next week. This has been an edition of the Premium Takes Podcast.